Welcome to the Thin Blue Line Outdoors Podcast.
This pig came bottling.
Just ended up puking last night. It sucked.
Whoa! Ah!
We gut it, we wrap it in tinfoil, throw it over the fire.
All right, everyone. This is Thin Blue Line Outdoors Podcast. I believe 82. It might be 81. We're already started off bad. Yeah. So, had a couple people, no fault of their own, had to reschedule. So Garrett luckily saved the day, come in, and he's going to jump on the podcast. Garrett just was on podcast 78 with Brock. You guys might still be seeing some reels and stuff coming out with that. That was a very good conversation. I had not met Brock before until then, so Brock seems like a cool dude. Oh, yeah. I'm not just saying that. He actually seems like a cool dude. And hopefully we can do some more stuff with him later on this fall and more. But Garrett, I know you introduced yourself kind of back in podcast 78. But I'm going to have you kind of reintroduce yourself again and talk about deer season that we did not cover in podcast 78.
Alrighty, as you guys know, if you tune in to the last one, I'm Garrett. I'm Cody's brother-in-law, unfortunately. I am a county deputy here in central Illinois, kind of the same area as Cody patrols as well. Mm-hmm. So last season as a whole, my start could not have been more rough.
It was rough.
So normally at the beginning of the year is when I do my best. I normally have a lot of encounters, a lot of close calls, and I'm more picky early.
Yeah, your last, not counting last year, the 2 seasons before, your Octobers were great.
Yeah.
So this was weird.
This was really weird.
Yeah.
So I went, I want to say close to 10 sets, and that is hunting morning and afternoon. So I went all that time without seeing a single deer. I don't think I saw a single deer until the last couple days of October. That's how bad it was. And that deer was like 80 yards away. It came out and I'm like, they do exist. And I was like ranging it and I was shaking, and it ended up being like I think a little spike buck. But
yeah, and nothing had really changed with the farm, right? Like nothing to explain lack of deer activity.
Yeah, none at all. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time because Kyle hunted it the night before and only hunted it a couple hours, and he saw, I think he said 8. So I'm like, oh, perfect. I'm like, easy pickings. Nope, not at all. I did see a flying squirrel, which was the wildest thing. I'm going to talk about that for a second because I forgot about it till now. So this little critter comes crawling up like the tree. I'm like, what is that thing? I'm like, is it like an injured baby squirrel? Because it's like all hunchback, and it was in this tree to my right, and it got like eye level, and it jumps, and it folded out, and it glided, and went to another tree, and I was like baffled, because I'd never seen one before. I didn't even know they were in central Illinois.
I didn't either. And this, we're talking about our lease, right?
Yeah, out of the lease.
Yeah, and so Garrett and I are on a lease together with some other guys. I've never seen a flying squirrel, so I didn't really know they exist around here. So.
Yeah, me neither. I've seen them like documentaries, but yeah. But anyway, about the deer. So I saw a flying squirrel, but no freaking deer, right? And then I eventually saw one about like 80 yards away, and then it was just still super slow. And I took my vacation, if you will, from like November 4th to like up to first shotgun season, I think. And then things like completely flipped. I did a couple more sits where I really didn't have any opportunities, but I saw some deer. And then after I killed my first doe, it was hot at that point. Then I was in the juice.
Yeah, just had to get
that first one. So talk about my first harvest. She was actually quartering to a little bit more than I thought. So she came out on my left. If you guys seen the YouTube video, it doesn't really do it justice. It looks more broadside than it actually was. And I just think the angle where my stand is, it made it look like she was really broadside. So I shoot, made really good contact. I did hit her back, so that worried me. She ran up this hill, because where the stand's at, it's in these bottoms, there's a great big like ravine in the center, and then there are like 2 really tall hills, and there's a creek to my back. But they normally funnel off this hill and either go into the ravine or use this trail. So she came off the trail, was like right at 28 yards. I put my 30 pin on her, and I'm trying to get out of the habit of shooting and looking, because I've done a lot of reviewing my footage when I do shoot at a deer, and I am doing some goofy stuff with my bow, like as soon as I shoot. So I got to break that habit. But pulled it right. She runs up the hill, and I see her go down the hill and never came back. So I gave her time, and then I had deer all over me. Nothing really to brag about. A bunch of does that never gave me an opportunity. And then this one little spike buck had like a death wish because he like 10 yards in front of me. And this stand should not work. It's got back cover on the left, which is great for any deer that come from that side. And any deer that come up to my right, the back cover in the early fall is really good because I have enough back cover to kind of break me up.
From the leaves and stuff?
But to the naked eye, it looks like it should not work. And Cody and I have talked about this stand, and I was like, I need to move it because it won't work. It does. And now I shot 2 deer out of it, and I could have shot plenty more deer out of it. I'm going to leave that stand alone and leave it where it's at. Because the brush is getting better, too, for the backdrop of it.
It's just going to keep growing.
And maybe eventually that tree's... it's a huge cottonwood tree, so it's hard to get this hang on anyway. It took me like 2 hours to get up in there. As you guys know, I hate heights with a passion, so it was everything I could to get this thing buckled to the tree. It's got like 4 ratchet straps on it. It's not moving. But anyway, I shoot this doe. She runs up the hill, falls down. I give her plenty of time. I call Cody and my wife, let them know I shot a deer, and then Cody's like, well, if you need help tracking it, let me know. And Nate had just got done hunting, so I gave Nate a call. So Nate comes out with me. We just drove right to where I shot her, and we get out. We couldn't find blood, and I didn't get passed through either, which is weird because I'm shooting almost a 600 grain arrow. So I'm like, I hit something really hard. So what had happened was I didn't know this until I talked to my my butcher. So I shot her quartering to. It traveled through and hit her back femur. Instead of breaking it horizontal, broke it vertically and broke it all the way down.
That's
like all the way up to the pelvis.
I don't think you told me this. If you have, I forgot. So that's nuts.
Yeah, broke it all the way to the pelvis. Because I told him in the past of like my arrows, and when I went and picked her up, he's like, I got to show you something. And he shows me my broadhead, and he goes, like 30 plus years of doing this, I've never seen anything like this. He's like, so whatever you're doing, keep doing that, because that is crazy.
Which we're going to get to that later on.
So the only thing it did is it broke the threads off where it threaded in the arrow, but that was no big deal. The arrow was already broken anyway.
And that's usually what I've noticed anyway. That seems to be a weak spot in some of the arrows I've used.
Because it's just thinner there. And
especially when you go so heavy like we have been. Like a lot of times that is what breaks, because nothing else breaks, but that something's got to give. That's what gives.
The blades were a little bent up, but I honestly think you could have probably brought the blades back, but there was no coming back when the threads was broken. So fast forward a bit. I did that ground hunt that I talked about in the last podcast. Had that buck encounter that was really cool. And then I ended up shooting a doe, and I think I hit her low. I actually just finally gave Cody the footage. Whether we actually take off with the footage today or we forget about it again.
It's upstairs, so we just got to plug into computer.
Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. But so I shoot that doe, lose her. Then I was kind of bummed out because I don't like doing that. And this is all my grandparents' farm, by the way, not our lease. Our lease kind of shut down on us. And
But I think we got that fixed for this year, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think this year's going to be bumping. There was a lot going on last year. It was a new farm. They did a lot of management stuff, which is going to make it way better. And, you know,
Agreed.
We couldn't ask for a better landowner to do all that stuff either. Because most would be like, here.
But we ain't going to tell you.
We're not going to tell you anything. So I think I took a day or 2 days off. And then I'm like, all right, I'm ready to get back after it. I was checking the wind, and the lease, I had a good wind to hunt, so I decided that I was going to hunt my grandparents' farm. It was going to be really cold that morning. It was, well, not really cold, but in the 20s, good for us. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go hunt this bottom stand again, because normally at my grandparents' farm, I always had the best luck at the top field for whatever reason. So I got really big on hunting it, and that tree is perfect. There's so much cover in there.
That tree's nice.
And like I can get away with moving all over and not really get spotted until they're right on me. So I gambled. Now that I had my confidence up with this bottom field, I'm like, I kind of want to go down there again. So I go down, and and probably an hour goes by. I didn't really see anything.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, on the neighbor's property, there's like a pinch point where my grandparents' field and their field meet. Like I can see through all that, and I saw deer running, and I thought I saw a buck chasing a doe, but I sat there for a while, did some rattling, did some grunting, saw several does kind of passing through the neighbor's property, but nothing, nothing to really hoot and holler about. But it was a good morning. Like there's a lot of movement, and I'm curious if I would have stayed, what else I would have seen. But sitting there, I hadn't seen a deer for like 20 minutes, and for some reason I'm like, I hear something up in this hill. So they normally come off the left, either in the ravine or off that trail. Well, this buck was like eye level with me on this, above eye level with me, and this opposite hill where they do not go. So I'm like, oh, there's a deer right there. And I felt like he was looking at me. I'm like, God dang it. And he just starts working down the hill a little bit. So I'm like trying to hurry up and turn on my camera. I get my camera turned on. I get my bow on my lap. I was like, all right, that's a lot of movement. But he was behind a bunch of this, I think it might be Russian olive.
Yeah,
it's that
probably.
really thorny stuff.
Yeah, yep.
So he's behind a bunch of that. So he starts kind of working down the hill. And I'm like, he's going to pop out on the trail. And I'm going to shoot him right there. I'm like, this will perfect for my camera angle. It's over my right shoulder. I was like, this is going to be picture perfect.
Yep.
He doesn't do it. He does his own thing. And he pops off to my right where there's a scrape that had been worked actually pretty hard. This was a new scrape, like...
Just popped up on its own?
Yeah, popped up on its own. And it was very heavily used. And he comes right up by it. And there's some more brush right there. And I'm like, all right, I got to get drawn now. So I draw my bow. And I think, because me being like... OCD a little bit, I want to know how long I had my bow back, so I watched the camera footage enough. I think it was like close to 20 seconds.
Yep.
Had it back, which felt like an eternity.
Yeah. Yep.
And he starts moving, and I get on him. I'm like, he's got to be probably like 30 yards. So I was guessing, didn't have it ranged, didn't have time to range it, which I probably ranged it in the past. But I'm like, that's further than 20. I don't think it's past 30. So I get on him, and I'm like way back on him, and I'm like trying to stop myself from just letting the arrow go. So I'm like, take your time, take your time, take your time. And I'll like get in front of him. Then I'll go back, and he stops. And I pretty much shoot as soon as he stops. And I hit him, and I'm like, oh, you're dead.
Yep.
You are so dead. Because I thought I hit it right behind the shoulder. I was like, that was perfect.
Yep.
And he starts running, and as soon as he starts running, he's just dumping blood. And he doesn't make it 60 yards. And he falls over so hard, and I'm like...
That's a good feeling to have.
He ended up being like, I think he did make 9 points. There's one that might be like an inch. It's like a sticker off his main beam.
Can you hang a ring on it?
Oh yeah, I could probably. I could figure.
It counts.
I could figure some ring to probably hang on it. So it's like a little crab claw off his main beam. And this my biggest recovered buck. So yeah, I mean I have a bunch of friends that shoot just complete giants. He's not a giant, but he was a good young deer. Yeah. And I could not have been more proud of it. I felt like...
I think, because I've only seen the one picture of him. I think 2 or 3, you think?
If he was 3, he was like freshly 3. I'd say he's probably like 2.5 or so. But my vacation was running on end, so...
Yeah, and you're only hunting a 35-acre farm, right?
Yeah, so it's like 38 acres, but yeah.
Yeah.
And most of it is just deep ravines.
Yes.
There's technically 3 ag fields. The field I'm hunting, so I'm hunting in between the 2 bottom fields, and they're only separated by like a really small culvert. And to my right's like a half acre at most, and then the other one's probably like an acre and a quarter. Yeah. So they're really small ag fields. They were corn last year, which I don't really do good in corn.
Which is crazy. I always do the best with corn.
So beans... They're everywhere, and especially early because normally their crops get put in kind of late, so they're really green through October normally. But anyway, he falls down, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. So I gave him time, and I was like, man, I really want to stay up here and see what else I see, but I'm like, I can't be greedy. I shot 3 deer out of this farm. My grandpa did have a blind up, so I'm like, I don't want to be greedy and shoot everything out here.
Yeah. Did he hunt at all?
No, he ended up he's retiring from deer hunting after he fell down this hill. And he told me, yeah, he told me after he fell down, he's like, yeah, to hell with this. I'm too old to be doing this. So he is officially retired, I think, from hunting in general.
Gotcha.
But I go up to him, and I see my entry was actually in front of the shoulder. So I wish I had a different camera angle because I would have loved to see what I did to make it hit there. I'm wondering if when he was walking, his front shoulder was actually back because I wasn't paying attention to that. I was like, get him stopped and shoot him. So that's how I'm coping with I didn't do anything wrong. I just didn't see that. That's how I'm, which could be.
I mean, you ran 6 yards and died or less, so like can't really say you did anything.
The exit was directly behind his back shoulder. Like it was perfect, and center punched his heart. Okay, I was going
to ask you when you gutted him. Like,
it center punched his heart because I thought about keeping the heart, and it was mangled.
Good
and I was shooting a new broadhead too. It was the same company I'd been shooting, but I couldn't find that broadhead in any store, and I was on my vacation. And I'm like, I can't order it from Amazon because I probably won't get it by the time while I'm still on vacation. So I went with the same company. It was a different one. I'm like, I've been looking at these anyway. They were wider. They were still fixed blade, and they had 2 bleeders. I don't trust myself to not have bleeders on there.
Yeah, I like the bleeders. Yep.
Yeah. So, which didn't matter because he didn't make it. I mean, he died plain sight, but I was really impressed with him. And then I was super pumped up about my arrows, just zipping through like butter. To like, it went through them pretty quick, and I was pretty stoked.
Yeah. So one thing, anything else for deer season before we move on?
No, I think that was I think that might have been my wasn't my last set. I did a couple more sits at the least and didn't have any luck, but I called it quits after that because then it was getting into the holidays and my vacation was over. So
here's the thing. So Garrett just told you about how well he's had the good with the broadhead setup and arrow setup. So him and I both are shooting very similar arrows. We both are shooting day 6 arrows. I know mine weighed right at 600 grains.
Mine was like 592.
Yeah, so very similar setups. We both were shooting different broadheads. And so like I've shot bear and a whole bunch of deer and hogs with mine that have no complaints. But as they are heavy arrows, and I like to shoot long range here at the yard, and I am getting tired of lobbing them. So it's like, okay, I know. And it's funny that you and I kind of came to this same agreement this year. I think only 1 year ahead of you on the heavy arrow thing, I think.
Yeah. Because we were shooting Zombie Slayer from Black Eagle.
Yep. And honestly, I had pretty good luck with those two. I had a couple non-pass-throughs and some shoulder blade issues with deer. But again, so Garrett and I are having all this great luck with these arrows and broadhead setups, but we're switching it up this year because we're stupid.
Yeah, because we can't stop ourselves from just chasing the dragon.
Yeah, so I think we're not going to go back to flappers, as Range Furry said. We're not going to go that low, but we're definitely not going to be shooting 600 grains. I know the arrow I'm looking at right now for deer season. And again, we are not affiliated with any arrow companies yet.
If you're watching this, hook a brother up.
Yeah. So I know as of right now, I think my plan is trying to do Exodus Archery. I think they're based out of Ohio. It's either Indiana or Ohio, I don't remember. I already done like my arrow building setup. I'll just be shy of 500. It'll be like 485, 490, somewhere in there, I think is what my total weight will be for my arrow. Plus that would be with a 125 grain head on it. And you, what are you looking at right now?
So I was diving really deep into it. I love day 6 arrows. I have no complaints on them. Great company. These are the HDs. This is what they originally had. Now they just came out with one. It's called the XD.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I think they're about the same price point, maybe.
There's like $10 difference for a half dozen. I don't remember.
So as much as I love them, especially when you're building heavier arrows, I found you're going to spend money. It's not something that it's pretty cheap. So I was trying to find something that was pretty similar. I'm also, I think, stuck on the micro diameter. I don't think I could go back.
I don't know if I could go back to standard.
And these are like 0.165 5 or whatever it is. And the ones I'm looking at now, they're the Easton Axis 5mm. And I think grain per inch for the 300 spine, because I shoot 270 spine now, and I shoot a 70-pound bow.
So I'm not going to go in detail here, but you got standard shaft arrow with this is with my recurve arrow, which makes sense for a recurve. You're not going to really shoot. I'm not going to shoot micro with a recurve. I'm sure some people probably are, but like, man, especially out of compound, that's a pretty big difference in thickness. So,
yeah. And there's some science behind it for like penetration, and then like the wind doesn't bother it as bad, wind drift or whatever you want to call it, and they're stiff, and I do like that a lot. So now I'm looking at the Axis 5mm. I think for the 300 spine, because like I said, I'm shooting 275 now, and you're shooting 250s, right?
Yes, which I think I'm actually gonna be shooting 300. Yeah, I think.
So I wanted.
What's your draw length?
My draw length, I think it's actually longer than what my bow is set at. So I got my bow off of a friend, so it's set to 28. I think I'm more 28 and a half, 29, but I make it work. Yeah, because I didn't want to buy the mods. If I'm going to buy mods, I'm going to buy a new bow. Yep. So 28-inch draw, and the bow maxed out at 70, so it's probably like 72 or whatever. So I
26 and a half length draw.
You got little T-Rex arms, brother. Little T-Rex arms. Yeah. So the Easton Axis, they have pretty good reviews. I think the Bowhunter Die guys use them because I creep their
page and stuff. YouTube.
Their YouTube, but their actual shop online. Okay, gotcha. Or whatever, and it's got a form of like the gear they use. Oh, okay. Because I was curious. I'm like, you know, I watch so much deer hunting on YouTube. I just kind of want to see what everybody was shooting and kind of do some price matching. Yep. So those you can get like a dozen shafts for, you know, less than what I was paying for day 6. Probably by the time I add on all the add-ons, it'll probably be about the same, but I'll have more arrows. Yeah. So, and I still want to do my custom arrow wraps too. That's a dangerous hole to go down.
Yeah, I haven't went down it yet.
Yeah, you will.
I know.
You will.
I know.
But I think with the outsert, or they're called half outs, so it's still an outsert, but they make one. It's like stainless steel, and it's like 55 grains or 75 grains or something like that.
That's about what I'm going with Exodus.
Yeah. So versus what I was using day 6, it was 100 grain outsert, and then I had 100 grain head. So I kind of figured it all up with like a 28-inch arrow. Then you have the half out in there. By the time I put the broadhead, I'm looking at like right at 500, maybe a little above. I didn't want to go really below 500 because I don't want to shoot flappers again. Because as much as I want my bow to shoot faster and at long range, I know if I shoot a light arrow and I make a bad shot in the shoulder and I don't get past her and I lose another deer, I am going to throw a temper tantrum and be so mad at myself for cutting myself short. Because I do like to go shoot at Black Diamond. I like to, shoot out here and shoot longer ranges, but I don't really shoot that long distance, like 30 yards most at my house. Correct. So
part of the reason why I've decided now to go lighter arrow, because again, I've had good luck. I had a situation last year and I pulled it off. But number one, we'll go with Black Diamond is the local club we shoot at. And they got some like 50 to even sometimes 60-yard targets out there. And we shoot them and stuff. And, man, when you see it, it almost looks like not quite. There's every bow's got a little bit of loop to them. But, like, I'm watching Austin shoot, buddy and team member of ours. And they're, just a little loop. And then I shoot.
Yeah, come from the top rope, dude. Yeah.
And... No, in the woods, that kind of matters too, because if you're shooting more of a loop, you're more likely to hit twigs and stuff like that. Or if you're shooting more of a bullet, you're less likely to hit stuff, and you can actually kind of see, okay, I got an opening there. So that's one reason. But number two, last year I shot a doe, got shot her at 30 yards. And, I was like, crap. And she's out there at 58 yards. I would never shoot a deer at 58 yards, but hey, I got an arrow in her. And did I pull it off? Yes, but man, I felt like that arrow would still be flying there, man. I just remember squeezing off the release, the shot, and just it was like slow motion watching it. I mean, I hit exactly where I was aiming, but I'm like, man, I wish it was flatter though.
I mean, if you think about it, it worked.
Yeah.
So who am I to say anything? But when you're shooting that heavy of an arrow, especially at that distance too, like that gives them a ton of reaction time.
Correct.
So, if this was a booner,
correct. I'm assuming she was so hurt already that that's why she didn't move. That's my assumption. So again, we're like, okay, we went a little crazy because again, I went. A lot of heavy arrows just say, hey, go try to start at 500 or 550. I went straight to 600.
I intended to go 500. And then Cody and I thought for the longest time I was shooting like 500. Then we came out here like the first week of October as you, me, and Nate shooting because we're sighting in his crossbow.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I'm just curious. And we threw it on there and we're like, that's 592. That's a 600 grain arrow. And I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
Because I went from shooting a 60-pound bow with really light arrows.
Yeah, probably 350, 375, 380,
to the complete different spectrum of arrow, and I love it. I don't think I can go back to a light arrow now. Yep.
Yeah, I definitely think, like I said, Garrett and I think went a little crazy with it. Some people go even crazier than we do. Now we're backing down a little bit, and we'll be shooting, I think more... a good weight. Reasonable, yeah. Which recurve, I'm still shooting pretty heavy with recurve. I think I'm above 500. I don't remember exactly.
But I mean, what do you feel comfortable shooting at?
Right now, 10 yards. That's more of accuracy than anything.
You just want to take a pocket knife instead.
I want to get one of Tim Wells' spears and just start spearing them instead. We're working on my range here a little bit. And the main reason I went so heavy with these, though, is, when I've talked about this, is my point of aim. So I'm aim shooting. So I'm not doing instinctive. And so I know at 30 yards, again, if my release is correct, I just put my point right on it, and it's perfect. And I knew I had to keep adding weight to my broadhead until I figured that out. So finally figured that out. But anyway, and then we'll kind of go to this, and then we'll talk about some food plots. But we're also both switching up our broadhead setup a little bit.
Yep.
So I was shooting Iron Will for the longest time. I did go back and mess around a little bit with Rages last year, which I had good luck. Rages I have mixed feelings about. Iron Will are great, other than they're super expensive. And you were shooting Magnus.
And I have nothing but good things to say. They were reliable, and their customer service is second to none. I basically broke one after it passed through a deer, and it hit like a rock or something in the field, damaged it. I sent them an email. He's I can't remember the representative that got back in touch with me, but he's like, "Hey, do you have a picture of it?" Sent me a picture of it and goes, "All right, yeah, with a lifetime warranty no matter what." And they owned up to it, and then he let me pick what either broadhead I wanted, and we sat there and talked back and forth, and he sent me a bunch of pictures of like other like bones and stuff that their broadheads have hit and not destroyed them. So like I had really good luck with them. They're a solid company.
Yeah. So I really wanted, as a brand, if we started working with a broadhead company, number one, I wanted them to be American made. That was number one thing I wanted. I want to support America, essentially. Number two, I prefer a company that had both options for expandable and fixed blade head. So Garrett, myself, Kyle, my brother Colton. Is that it? I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of us went crazy and shooting the heavy grain heads. Shooting
fixed blades.
Yeah, fixed blade heads. But 90% of the team members are shooting expandable. Some of our team members are shooting crossbows. And then I take out a lot of cops who are just brand new to heads, and sometimes I even hand them some of my broadheads. So I needed a broadhead that I could trust and to do that. And I'm super excited to say we're going to be working with Rec Broadheads. That's REK Broadheads. And I just actually got some of our broadheads in the other day, and they have a new one coming out.
These are the XPs. Do you have any of the FX4s?
Yeah, they're going to be, let's see here. Boom. FX4s there. And they're coming out with an HXP, I think it's called.
Yeah. So
that's going to be
a 2-inch cut or 2.5-inch cut or something.
Correct. So again, super excited to be shooting these. to 100% be honest with you, I have not put any of these to an animal yet. I'm hoping to change that this May. We'll excited to show you guys. But yeah, so these are expandable heads. We can, in theory, shoot like a field tip. I can hand them to a new officer, first responder, who's I'm taking out hunting. But hey, you're gonna shoot this today. Be accurate, something I can trust. So super excited for that. And then for us guys who still like the fixed blade heads,
The FX4s.
yeah, Garrett's got the FX4, and I got that. Those with bleeders. They have another one without bleeder options. I'm like Garrett, I want the bleeders. Again, got that, and I got the 125 grains because I still can't get completely over my heavy arrow
fixation.
Yeah,
and I mean they got a pretty good cut diameter. I didn't know that they had close to a 2-inch cut with the FX4s. So that makes me really excited. I'm torn whether I want to shoot the FX4s because I do love a fixed blade now. I'm down deep that rabbit hole, but I also like the what are the HXPs? Isn't that what you said?
Yeah.
With that, like they look pretty nasty.
Correct.
I would like to give them a shot. I might buy a package of both. Have 2 arrows with the FX4s and 2 with the HXPs.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna try to shoot a bear with these.
Yeah.
That's what I think I'm gonna try to do. Just haven't completely decided yet or not.
I like the chiseled heads on them too.
Correct.
That reminds me a lot of like the Muzzies or the Thunder heads too.
Yep. So I'm excited to try these out. A couple of us are going bear hunting here next month. And what's nice about these, they're all crossbow rated. So even all my crossbow guys can just grab these and shoot them. So we got a couple guys that are going to have crossbows and compounds up there. I'm going to have my compound and my recurve. Haven't decided what I'm going to try to shoot a bear yet with. But either way, we're hoping, in theory, we could get 4 bears down testing these heads. So right before season.
If you're only comfortable at 10 yards, I don't think I'd want to get 10 yards from a bear and shoot.
Well, my 3 archery kills for a bear: 13 yards, 15 yards, 9 yards.
Okay, all right. I'll shut my mouth.
I'm right in that. Yeah. I can't get too much closer. Now, my dumbass, we'll just call it that. Your sister, my wife, agrees with this. I want to hunt one from the ground.
Yeah, as well.
With this. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I'm rooting for you.
Yeah. So if you don't see me after May, I got eaten.
Yeah. And then, does that make this Nate's brand after that, since he is a VP?
I guess. God help you all.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Good Lord.
It's going to get silly.
So anyway, yeah, super excited to be working with Rec Broadheads. I'm hoping to have Alex and Matt on the podcast.
Are the owners?
Yeah,
or?
owners, and I think Alex is technically the marketer. But anyway, I'm super excited to have them on the podcast, talk more about their brand and stuff, and hopefully get some animals down and
Maybe we can get them out for a shoot at Black Diamond.
That's true. That's true.
I think Brock and his wife might be making it for April's.
Okay.
Playing on it. So.
Okay. Be next weekend. So
yeah, on Sunday.
Cool.
I think.
Yep. Sweet. Yeah, that'd be awesome. So yeah, we're hoping to do get some more arrows downrange this year, and trying those out, and then hopefully Garrett and I will have some new arrows to test out, and we'll give you guys our opinion on that. One thing that Garrett and I have been texting a lot about here lately, that's why we're kind of discussing, is food plots. Garrett is managing his grandparents' land of 38-ish acres. I'm managing my family farm here, which I own 60 acres. My dad owns the northern 100, which my dad is doing some stuff. We're putting some CRP and stuff on his side. We're going to mainly focus on my side right now, but for the food, yeah. So I'll go first, and then you can go. So I have an existing food plot that's about 2 acres. That is clover, and that clover plot's getting better and better every year. But one thing I have came to realize, and Garrett will probably laugh at this, after last year, I love hunting over alfalfa.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Now, there's some drawbacks to alfalfa, and I understand that. One thing I was super excited when we picked up this lease last year was it was gorgeous alfalfa.
It might have been the most thick alfalfa field I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. And I originally hunted, when I grew up hunting over alfalfa, and I had not hunted over alfalfa in years. And I didn't realize how much I missed it. And so I went out there day one, killed a doe, and then and then to my horror, I knew the farmer had told us ahead of time, or the landowner, hey, we're going to disc the alfalfa over, and we're going to put food plots in. So I knew I was only going to get one season out of it, which is fine. But they ended up deciding, the farmer did, to start disking it up in November.
Yeah, it was like November 2nd.
Yeah, right during our rut vacations, or right before.
Right before. Mine started the 4th, and then you had the stuff came out, and you sent it to me, and I almost cried. I was like, no.
Yeah, I remember sending the text, guys, you're not going to believe this.
Yeah.
So that sucked. But it is what it is. And like I said, he's the land owner with the farmers putting in food plots and stuff. So,
and the farmer was still doing a bunch of dirt work. Like, I'm not mad at him. It just sucked for the situation. I'm not mad at him at all. I want to make that clear.
He was getting hired to do a job and all that stuff.
I don't know if I told you this. He smoothed the entire outside edge because that's where that buffer grass is going to go. So, like, he was doing a ton of work, did a bunch of timber work, getting a lot of brush knocked out for us, making it.
It's all good habitat work.
Yeah. They're doing it to make this into a project farm, basically, so that we can continue to help grow big deer out there, honestly.
Exactly. So it's hard to be mad, because I'm not mad.
I'm not at all.
Yeah, it's just, and I knew
it's a process.
Yeah, exactly.
It just sucked for the time being, but that happens.
Exactly.
That's why it's called showbiz.
Yep, exactly. So, a couple things I'm doing. Number one, I'm going to start planting a buffer strip in some of my food plots with, and I'm going to try it. We'll see how the combination goes. Obviously, long term, so I don't have to plant every year, is switchgrass, and it's native grass. Do that cave in the rock blend, and that's something once you get it established, it's pretty easy to maintain and control. It's good for pheasants, quail, rabbits, all that good stuff. Good for the deer, but I know the switchgrass is not going to be up enough. Memory card is full. Well, good thing we have recording on other stuff.
Yep.
I think I left it in 4K. That's why. Oh well, we still got the GoPro going.
Yeah.
So anyway, working on that switchgrass buffer, and then to get through this season, so there's a little bit of buffer. I'm also planting some sorghum. So that sorghum, that will also, when it dies next year, we'll put organic matter on the ground to help fertilize the soil. So I'll be doing a combination of switch and sorghum combo this year. And then for my food plot, I haven't decided if I'm going to add any brassicas and stuff later in the year, but for sure to get this established and add a little alfalfa, I'm actually going to, hopefully he didn't sell me a crappy blend, Ridge Hunter Outdoors, group of guys, Kane, he's a good guy. I think I'm going to get on his podcast sometime. You guys definitely check him out, but he's got, with another company, his own food plot mix.
Okay.
And it's clover, chicory, alfalfa mix. I'm like, as soon as I saw alfalfa, I'm like, I'm in. So
that's a pretty good blend.
Exactly, and it's not a heavy alfalfa percentage. I think it's might be only 5 or 10%. Which clover's just super easy to maintain. Deer like it. So I get that. So, and I might throw in some more alfalfa on top of that, just because I like it. So I got that order. I just actually got a notification saying it's on its way. So I'll be. This spring, be seeding all that stuff, and then in the fall, depending if I had some patches and stuff, I might put some brassica down.
Oh, nice.
So that's my plan. Excited for that. See how it goes. And again, I'm kind of excited too how the CRP mix is going to go on my dad's side.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm going to mess with the camera while you do that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I've never hunted over a food plot before. It's all been just like ag field stuff. Now that I've been kind of developing the craft of archery hunting and getting used to deer hunting in general, transitioning from a waterfowl hunter, I've been wanting to get outside more and tinker with stuff and understand it better, so I become a more well-rounded deer hunter. So my grandparents' farm's smaller. It's really hilly, and there's not a lot of room to put a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to do clover, and essentially I'm going to make a kill plot. That little half-acre field, there's between both bottom fields, there is a grassway on the north side that my grandpa uses to bring his tractor through, get on the trail, kind of play around on his side-by-side, whatever. So on the half-acre side, I want to make that all alfalfa and try to even bring the alfalfa, like, in towards my tree stand a little bit. And then up at the top, too, it's kind of very similar, but there's not really grass. It's just clay for where he doesn't make it to plant. And I want to make that all alfalfa, too.
You can do alfalfa or clover?
Or clover.
Okay, clover. See, because I know
alfalfa.
so you want something. Alfalfa is a little bit more finicky. Like you got to mow it and stuff. And I know you're looking for something real easy.
Yeah, mow it a couple times, let it do its thing. So clover is what I meant. But do a clover plot. I mean, essentially, they're going to both be really small plots. I think I have Imperial seed.
Yeah, I've used it before. It's worked out good.
Yeah, so I have one bag, one of the smaller bags, and it plants a half acre. So that's probably going to be more than enough to do both those kill plots, maybe, depending on how heavy it goes and how far it go. But I was going to go plant it a week ago, I think, because I messaged you about using your hand seeder.
Yep.
And I went over to my grandparents' farm just to double check, make sure it was okay with my grandpa. I didn't want them to, not want me to do it and do it anyway. Yeah. He was perfectly fine with it. And he's like, yeah, well, let's get the mower off the tractor and we'll put the disc on. We'll go disc that real quick and then we can get to planting it. And then he was like, actually, now that I think of it, he still hasn't sprayed the fields yet. And these grassways are directly against the field. He's like, I don't want us to plant this and it start coming up and he sprays it and kills it. Yeah. So we're going to give it until after he maybe even plants. So it's going to be a while until we probably...
Yeah, which clover's pretty hardy. So, like, if he just gets an indirect spray, it'd probably stun it a little bit, but it'd probably recover. Once it gets mature, though, like if it's juvenile clover, you might have a hard time. Yeah. Now I think you can buy Roundup ready clover. But if you just buy, like, an Imperial's not. Now, what's nice about you and I might have talked about this already, to help you manage that clover, if it starts getting like grassy in it, you can spray that clover with clethodim. Yeah. You can buy it right at Farm King and stuff.
Spray it and then mow it and then let it come back up again. Correct. It stays real nice and thick. Yeah.
So that'll be good. I think that'll be good and help you with keeping deer down there and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And we kind of looked out. So there was a property that's directly across from my grandparents' house, and I actually sold for a really good price because Cody and I were like, dude, if we could figure out a way to buy this, it'd be good. Yeah. Because it is a great area to hold deer. I've seen a ton of deer there. I'm sure there's some giants out there. I have one good one on camera. He might, and this is me, like, being a fisherman, like the fish is this big, might break 150. Yeah. And if it's 150, it'd be 150 on the dot. I don't think he's that big, but I did have him on camera, and I'm fairly certain this is the one that I had the encounter with while I was in my ghillie suit. Okay. If not, then every deer looks that big when you're that on ground level with them. Yep. But anyway, the guy who bought it's from New York, and he's done a bunch of land management stuff over there, and it's directly across the road. He's super nice. I haven't met him yet. He's talked to my grandpa. He plans on moving out there eventually when he retires, so it'd be kind of, I would like to catch him out and about, shake his hand, introduce myself, and then we can kind of like talk and
help each other out.
Help each other out a little bit, because I mean, they're neighboring properties. The deer use both of them.
Gravel road separating you. That's
it.
Like,
and it's a small gravel road. Yeah. So if we could both kind of tag team, like, hey, what are you planting this year? What do you have on your property that maybe I don't? Like, my grandparents' farm full of oak trees, so that's why one reason I have really good success early October. My top stand is near a bunch of oak trees. Like, I walk in, and once the acorns drop, they are covering this entire way, which I want to put the clover at. But all of that is oaks. And then there's some deep ravines, and there's one really big hill, and I tried to walk through it the other day because I thought about trying to clear brush out there and maybe try to get a stand hung up there. There's no way. No way. I do not have that sort of time. Like, that would be like years of managing to get all this, like, thick stuff out. So maybe way down the line is something I can do, but not anytime soon. But that's what they eat. The row crop, the acorns. I don't know if they eat walnuts or not.
No, I doubt it. But I mean, obviously you got browse in there on the in the ravine and stuff.
Yeah,
So
and there's a creek right there, so they have water.
Get some
and
water.
They have food. What we don't have is bedding. I'm sure they bed somewhere in there, but we really don't have a good bedding area set up at all.
Yep.
So maybe eventually I would like to try to figure out a way to make some bedding for them.
Yeah, I think you have had pretty good luck in doing a good job for only 38 acres. Because don't get me wrong, if you have the right 38 acres, you could be nuts. But like just the way your 38 acres kind of line up, you're limited because it is all hill. It's like, and every flat spot is filled. Yeah. So without actually taking the fields out and doing something like that, you're gonna have a hard time.
Which could be something way down the road that could be considered, because my grandparents don't farm it. It is their neighbor guy who farms it, and he like rents it from them essentially, and then they like split the cost of the seed and stuff like that. But you know, if he retires and just says he don't want to do it anymore, then that could lead to the opportunity for me to do that stuff. And if that were the case, it's gonna get silly. Yeah, we'll have a lot of we're gonna have time, habitat, out there. But eventually, I would like this is way long term, but I would like to get a couple tower stands there, have some really good food plots. Yeah, and then we could take all the kids. So that's one thing. Garrett and I both have young families right now. And you know, our kids aren't old enough to actually be shooting yet. You know, I've been taking my daughter out now, hunting 2 years now, just to observe, and she does a pretty good job. But yeah, so I'm starting to go more of the tower stand route just for the kids. Yeah, you can. It's quiet for the most part. You can put them in a comfortable chair, give them snacks, and it stays warm. Correct. And you can still get that elevation that you do close to what you can get in a tree stand. So eventually I'd like that, and like we could pick like a youth season or something, like, hey, I got a bunch of deer in here, like bring the kids over and have a heyday and shoot some of these does and get, you know, kind of thin them out a little bit. So Yep. Nope. I agree with Garrett there. So yeah, we both got some habitat projects in the works. Mine's in the early stages. Yours has kind of been established. Yeah. I know I need to do some brush cutting. Actually, what I really need to do is get your grandpa's bulldozer out here. Yeah, no kidding. That's what I really need to do. Borrow that one day of that, and I can have so much done. So that's kind of our habitat work. And then kind of what else is going on with the brand. Turkey season's here. As a brand, we don't do that much turkey hunting. No, Garrett's dabbled in it. I turkey hunt a little bit every year, but that's what I would say. I turkey hunt just because there's nothing else to do this time of year, really. Yeah. Kyle has been trying to turkey hunt hard the last 2 years and just hasn't had luck. Ryan, he had some stuff going on this year, but he's a pretty diehard turkey hunter. He likes it. And that's really about it. For the most part, we had Nate out there 1 year. We weren't able to get him a turkey. But Kyle this year, third year, trying to kill a turkey. We were able to get a turkey down. I was going to have him on the podcast to talk about it. But he is actually doing some police stuff right now. We'll drop that off later in the future. A little bit of a spoiler there. But super happy for him. He's had a really good year so far. Yeah, no kidding, dude. Yeah, he got married this year. Got a new job this year. Now killed his first turkey. So if he keeps this going, the dude's gonna shoot a booner. Yep. Well, and then last year, he killed close. He killed his first 2 ever archery deer. He almost killed the biggest buck of his life. Yeah, but he got caught with his pants down. Literally. I wish he. I know he wouldn't be recording that, but I wish he was. Yeah, that would have been amazing. And then he killed a bear last year, and then obviously, he killed a hog last year, and he killed a hog this year. So he's had, a really good year. He killed his biggest hog this year. He killed the biggest hog we've ever killed in Texas when we went down there as a brand. Killed, I think it was 208 pounds. I think we've never broke 200. So he's got the it factor right now. Yeah, hopefully he is him. Yeah, hopefully he keeps that going. Yeah. So anyway. Turkey season, essentially, he hunted 1 day by himself. The second day of season, I was able to go with him. I took him out to one of my best turkey spot, because I know I won't really be able to hunt it much this year. And we go down there, set up on 3 birds in the roost. They end up flying down the other way. Hen comes out quickly in the morning, and then
about 10 minutes after that hen came out and went back, I looked to my left, and I could tell right away, Big Tom, like 40 yards, right behind in the brush. So I know Kyle doesn't have a shot. I'm like, Kyle, don't move. Like, Big Tom, 40 yards. And finally, it kind of gets behind some brush, so I couldn't see it. He couldn't see either, so he starts getting his gun up, hits record on his camera, and this Tom comes out, sees our decoys, knew something was up, and he starts going away right away. Those two jakes come to see the decoy, comes something right.
Like juvenile snow geese.
I know, man. They just come right at us. So I kind of lean forward just so I can get my camera on it. And one jake's like 15 yards more to his left. The other one's like 10 yards. I'm just like, and I guess he asked me, because I asked him ahead of time, like, how picky you gonna be? You only gonna shoot Tom? You gonna shoot Jake? He's like, first legal bird. I'm like, right on, right on. I'm like, that's the way I am with turkeys. I don't mess around.
Hatchling feathers still on.
Yeah. If it's legal, I'm gonna shoot it. Like, that's all I care about with turkeys. So I kind of leaned forward, and I guess right when I was leaning forward, he turned to me and goes, "Should I shoot the Jake?" And he said, I didn't answer at first, and he's like, kind of waiting, and he just hears me, "Shoot it."
Do it.
Yeah. And it was 10 yards there, and he blasted it and killed his first ever turkey.
It's a good-sized Jake, though.
Yeah, I know, right?
That dude was a stud.
I know, right? That's what I thought, too. I'm like, man, like, if it wasn't for the tail feathers, I'd be like, maybe a small Tom.
Yeah.
But no, that Tom turkey that was with him was huge.
Yeah.
But no, good turkey, super excited. And we only had an hour and a half to hunt that day too.
Yeah,
so that worked out.
You guys got it done quick. I remember seeing it on Instagram, like you guys out there, and I could hear them gobbling. Yep. I'm like, and they were gobbling close. I'm like, it's on. He's gonna kill one.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't an hour later. I got back on Instagram. And you're like, something happened. I'm like, that didn't take long.
No. So Kyle asked me the night before, hey, should we go out there and roost them? And I'm like, this spot, they roost in the same spot every night. I know where they're at. And I think he had his doubt. I think he doubted me a little bit. And then
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm like, hey, man, we're going to set up here. This is exactly where I set up last year. I killed, I hunted for 15 minutes, killed a bird. And he's like, okay, whatever. And we sit down. I mean, I just get the decoys set up. I'm like crawling back to my spot, and like I don't think I was even sitting down yet. And the first one gobbled. I just looked at him. He's like, "That was close." I'm like, "I told you."
It's on.
Yeah.
When we went was when the brand was really new.
Real new. Yeah. And we got out there late, right?
A little late.
Yeah, because we hunted your spot first, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, we got there a little late. I don't remember what happened, but we ended up getting there a touch late, and then we had them gobbling like way like
up, I think,
several hundred yards.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't the immediate neighbor, it was the guy who actually farms my grandparents' land. It was on, like, so across the fence, across two pastures, like in the wood line somewhere. And then we hunted your property, and we didn't even hear anything. But it was the first season. And it was still really cold.
Yep.
So, and that was the first time I'd ever turkey hunted. I didn't understand the lottery system. I honestly still really don't.
Yep.
Because I thought I applied for multiple tags, and apparently only applied for one. And then I got first season. So,
yeah, which we'll have to. I know the plan is, so I got a whole bunch of team members who haven't killed a turkey. You being one of them. The plan is, okay, I got Kyle's turkey. I tried to get Austin turkey the next day, and we got this close. We snuck up to hens at 20 yards. They just, the Toms and the Jakes were on the other side of these hens. So, plan is, so Austin didn't get one, and he only got a first season tag. He almost did exactly what you did 2 years prior. And then I'm going to try to get native turkey this next season. But then next year, if I get native turkey, I'm thinking next year we focus on you and Austin. So I try to get you guys a turkey.
That would be cool. Is a scoot and shoot.
I do have a scoot and shoot.
I've seen, there's a guy I know from around here that I've watched him shoot one at like 5 yards. I'm like, that was insane.
I have tried to do it once, and I forget what time of year it was, during the spring, and what season. That Tom did not like it. I don't know if he just got his butt kicked by another Tom or what. He saw me, and he just like, nope, and ran the other way.
I think once I get some like really good action turkey hunt, that's going to be what turns me on. I enjoyed it. I like watching it, but I haven't hit that that hunger for it yet. But as soon as I'm like, I guarantee you, I can promise you that as soon as I go and there's a Tom that gobbles like close to me, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be hooked.
Yeah, well, you're a big bird hunter.
I am.
So I could see that.
Last year was the first year since I was 11.
Mm-hmm.
I did not duck hunt a single time.
I didn't realize you didn't duck hunt.
Yep, I've only since then have only not killed a duck 2 years. Last year because I didn't go, and one other year.
Man,
I didn't go a single time, which is wild.
Yeah, it is wild.
So the Benelli just sat there and
collected dust. Yep. Damn.
I thought about getting rid of it so I could buy a new boat, get a Matthews lift, but I can't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
That's my that was my graduation gift to myself. So
there is a place to turkey hunt around here, Kyle. You might know a guy, the Kyle Walker.
Oh.
Yeah, it's weird. I enjoy turkey hunting. It's fun. It's a blast. But it's the main reason I do it because there's nothing else to do around in the spring. Why is she calling me?
That's why we can't have nice things.
I know. No kidding, right? Probably wondering where your daughter's at.
Oh,
That
my
was-
daughter.
yeah.
Was that my
Yeah,
wife?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Or she's gonna yell at you for something.
I know, probably. I like turkey hunting. It's fun, but I prefer bear hunting. So we're going bear hunting again this spring, here in a month. Super excited for it. I don't know if any of you guys are interested in bear hunting, ever going out. It's a good time. Definitely should check it out. We hunt over bait, which that's a whole nother podcast. We don't need to get into that right now. We'll probably talk about in Canada. But if you're interested, and we'll probably end the podcast here with this. If you're interested in going bear hunting, a couple things I recommend. Number one, have gear for hot weather and cold weather. Period. Just because I've hunted as it was snowing. I've also hunted in like 80-degree weather.
Thermocell.
Thermocell's a must. Netting is a must. Bug net. Ice or what?
I can't
Oh
read
no,
that.
I can read it. Officer in charge pay.
Gotcha.
So anyway, if you're going bear hunting, if you're interested in going bear hunting, we go to Canada. We go to Ontario, Canada. Bug netting, thermocell, cold gear, warm gear. Bow hunting's awesome up there. Like I said, my 3 bow kills so far, 13 yards, 15 yards, and 9 yards. So I've shot them with expandables. I've shot them with fixed blades. Bear, honestly, it is a fun hunt. It's challenging in some ways, but it's also easier than some ways. It's not like the elk hunt or anything like that.
Have you heard of a blueberry bear? I just heard Joe Rogan and them talking about that as well.
Yeah. So the times we go up there in the spring, the blueberries ain't out yet. So we don't. It's more that's in the fall patch.
Yeah.
So I've never killed a blueberry bear. It'd be awesome to do that sometime, but I just never had a chance to do that. So yeah, I don't know.
I don't think I could do the bear hunting thing right now. My dog looks kind of like a bear, and I think I'd just be thinking I'd shoot him a big Otis, and I don't think I can do that yet. But
So I think that's why, whatever that thing is that people don't like shooting bears, I think that's why I like to hunt them. I don't know what that thing is. So my brother Caleb last year went out, shot a bear. Caleb is happy he did it. Won't do it again, he said. He's like, I'm happy I did it. It was fun. I don't regret it, but I won't do it again. I think I like it because the 2 bears I killed prior to the bear last year knew I was there and didn't care.
Yeah.
Just didn't care.
I do want to kill a mountain lion.
That would be cool.
But I want it to be spooky. I want it to like leave a racing stripe in my underwear spooky.
Go with some dogs.
Yeah,
No.
Like, maybe.
Yeah.
I want it to be like this thing's gonna eat my face spooky.
You say that now.
Right now.
You say that now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I will tell you this, and we can end the podcast then. That bear, you guys probably can't see it. There's a bear right behind Garrett right now. That's a bear we called Chubby Cheeks. That's the bear I killed last year. Not the little one, the one directly behind you.
This big one.
The big one, not the little one.
I was like, oh, this little guy looks like my dog. This is why I don't go bear hunting.
Yeah, that was my second bear. No, that bear was around 300 pounds there.
That's a big boy.
Yep. Shot him. He was sitting down when I shot him. And so the shot was in the front of the lungs, barely in the lungs. And bears' vitals sit back a little farther in their body cavity, so it ended up being not as good a shot as I was hoping. Waited 15 minutes, thought I found blood. It was actually jelly donut from the bait is what I saw on the ground.
Nice.
So, dang, well, I'm like, it's been 15 minutes anyway. We'll start looking, find him very quickly, start to walk up on him, see a twig move by his mouth, and realize he's still breathing. I'm like, crap.
I gotta shoot him again.
I tried to make 2 shots through this thick stuff with my bow. Both shots hit the same twig and launched over its back. I had 1 arrow left. Got within live's ending here soon. But ended up getting I get 8 feet from this bear and still alive, and I ended up shooting and killing it, so it wouldn't end up going well. But but guys, live's ending. We're running out of space in memory card. I got 1 camera still going, so
1 trooper.
Real quick, guys, I want to say thanks to Garrett coming on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having
me. Thank you to Wreck Broadhead, super excited to shoot him. Dominant Strands providing our bro strings. Mr. Rubb for cooking a wild game. What else am I missing? Oh, RackGetter Scents, which we'll be using for this bear hunt coming up.
RackGetter.
And I think Garrett and I both will have some more mock scrapes out this year with RackGetter. So, thanks, guys. Be safe out there. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. See ya.